Hey, I'm Mathew. Internships. Lots of schools are offering internships, high schools, colleges, universities, and more, I think, are starting to consider adding this life experience. It could be very much a life-changing experience for a lot of students. I know it was for me when I was in college and I did an internship. And, it's a really great initiative, but there are challenges, right? So some of the challenges, which I'm going to show you how we solve using virtual internships, right? So let's talk about some of the challenges of live internships. First, obviously, you have to find placements for your students, and that's not always easy because you want to have meaningful placements. They're not just put in a corner and given some busy work, but it's difficult to get employers to be able to offer those meaningful placements, particularly if it's a short term, only a few weeks of internships. Often I see them about 4 weeks long. So that's particularly difficult for a lot of businesses to provide a meaningful learning opportunity. You also have the challenge of your location, where you may be located in an area where there just aren't that many employment internship options nearby. You may also have students who have health challenges or physical challenges where a typical internship in terms of mobility may not be possible. And on top of all this, we've all experienced global shutdowns through pandemics and other issues that made it impossible. And in fact, we've had a lot of schools who have approached us for our solution during the pandemic because they could not place students out into the real world of business. So our solution is a virtual internship. And I'm going to show you two experiences that help provide this solution here. So the great thing about a virtual internship, and by virtual I mean through the use of simulations, is that you can provide a consistent and reliable experience for your students that's very easy to monitor, very easy to validate, and so it solves a lot of those assessment challenges that you have with other types of resources. Also, because it's simulation, it feels very real. And the experiences from your brain perspective are actually very real. And so it's not just doing more of the same thing. There's more coursework here or there. This is actually a very different and meaningful experience. And of course, it's scalable. It can be provided anywhere in the world. So that's always a benefit. And finally, the other big benefit is that you can provide students with actually a more managerial experience, whereas if they're put in a real-world internship for a few weeks, they often don't get to experience very much in that short period of time, and certainly not making any type of management decisions. But in our simulations, they can do that. So let me show you very quickly two simulations that could be used individually or combined to provide an incredibly meaningful internship. So this first one is called Go Venture Entrepreneur. This is a highly realistic, in fact, it's the most realistic small business startup and operation simulation in the world. Students can run businesses similar to popular franchises like a Subway, a McDonald's, a Pizza Hut, Baskin Robbins ice cream. They can also do automotive parts and service. They can do a department store, almost like a Target. They can do an online department store like an Amazon. We have cosmetics. And so students actually run the business. So they make product decisions. Let's move my video up here. So they can look at their operations and manage their operations. They can review products and different types of pricing and inventory and suppliers and manage employees. I mean, everything you'd want to do in the real world of business is here in this simulation, and very, very realistic. And you can play this for many, many hours. So one of the achievements you often need with internships is it's often 100 hours of work, maybe 150 hours of work. And you can actually accomplish this through our simulations and a combination of the supplemental resources that we provide, like micro-learning modules, videos, and so on. So very, very holistic, comprehensive experience. But this is one simulation. This would be the starter simulation where you start with a basic business and then you grow up to a much more advanced and eventually franchising your business. Very, very realistic. And then you can move on to our global business game called Go Venture World. So this is a game. It's free to play. It's running right now. People are joining it as we film this video, and it's at goventureworld.com. And this is a global business game where you compete and interact and collaborate with other players around the world. So the really strong benefit of this from an internship perspective is the simulation is focused on human-to-human relationships. So the entrepreneur simulation we saw a moment ago is more about the operations of running a business and making good decisions and learning all of those intricacies and the minutia of running a business. And Go Venture World is more high-level strategy. It's more about human-to-human relationships, like setting up supply chains and trusted relationships and paying people on time. And because of all that, the game is designed to nurture those human-to-human relationships. And that's one of the big things you want to do with a live internship, right? Is you want people to interact with other people and, get that business experience and build up those soft skills, right? Like, just how do you form an email or communicate with someone? How do you make sure you have a win-win relationship? How do you nurture that relationship and make sure you're trustworthy and meeting your obligations? And you actually experience all these things in this global business game called Go Venture World, because you are dependent on establishing those relationships with other human-to-human players. And if you have a group of interns, the other cool thing is your group of interns can actually collaborate even more closely in the game. So even though there's other people around the world playing it, if you have a group of classmates, they can actually collaborate both in the game and offline and establish those supply chains and those relationships and work together to be successful in the simulation experience. So that is a couple of simulations that we combine to provide an incredibly authentic and meaningful virtual internship for students. I'm Mathew Giorgio.